BooBaes. BooBaes. Welcome back.
Welcome. Howdy. Hi, howdy, hey.
It's me,
It's
Joshua.
me, Caitlin.
Oh. I feel like you always go first, and so that's why I was just like, let me sneak that in there.
I liked it. I like the surprise. I forget my own name half the time. So, hello, I'm Caitlin, and welcome to
BooBaes.
BooBaes. That's right. The podcast filled with horror movies that you may or may not like. We may or may not like them too.
But we're gonna talk about them.
We are. We've covered a pretty good
Assortment.
basis so far.
Yeah.
Some are, predictable.
We've got some paranormal. We had some paranormal.
Yeah, I was like, we haven't done any slashers yet.
But we will.
We will.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
There are so many.
There's so many. There's just so much horror movies.
Ugh.
So many horror movies in general.
And I'm excited about what's coming out too, like Halloween.
Yes.
Mm.
Can't wait. There's a few in theaters. There's one in theaters that I haven't seen the preview. I just see it on my AMC app.
Oh, Malignant. It's by James Wan. If you haven't seen it yet, look it up. Watch the little teaser trailer because it looks really good. The director, like not just like produced, like
and they got a Candyman out too. The Night House. That one, the picture looks cool.
That one looked. Oh, I actually saw the preview for that,
and
and I
Don't
do
Breathe
want to
2
watch that.
out.
We need to go to the movie theater immediately after this recording.
Okay, and then I still want to see Old.
Oh,
Shamalama Ding Dong.
I've
He's hit or miss.
had mixed reviews.
I want to see it.
And he is hit or miss. But I've
Yeah.
had mixed feedback from a couple people who've seen it.
Poster coming soon. Oh.
That's the scariest one.
But anyways,
Yeah.
enough of
Us just chit chattering.
AMC. We're moving on to Shudder. Time for you to sponsor us now because that's where we watch today's film.
Ringu.
That's right. We mentioned last week how we were gonna go on and do the actual the original film, the Japanese film.
Yes.
Quite literally, The Ring, the Americanized version, just went copy paste.
Literally,
copy,
as I
paste.
was watching it, and I kept getting further and further into it. I'm like, this is literally the same.
Yeah.
Like just tweaked a little bit, but like the same
with less like
less Naomi
spooky,
Watts.
Yeah. And first off, that little kid, he is precious. I loved him the whole time. I was like, you are so cute.
Yeah, he is very cute, and the way that he responds to her,
Yeah.
and like that very like.
Yeah. And he wasn't like a weird little freaky kid.
Yeah.
And he was just being like, I mean, he was an actual kid.
Actually, well, the thing is too is like I felt like he still gave that kind of like not creepy, but like almost there's something not right here kind of vibe.
Well, he was independent.
Yeah,
but I also think that is pretty true in like a lot of Japanese
the acting was
culture,
just
too.
better.
Yes,
like,
it was.
It just felt more real, genuine, I guess you would
Yes.
say, as opposed to like the little Damien
kid. Yeah, Damien with the fucking weird eyes. But yeah, overall, and I think now, okay, there were some times where the lead actress, do you have her name? I don't.
The lead actress, like the actress's name or the character?
Let's see. Cast. So Nanako, who played Reiko Asakawa, there were a few times where her face, it almost looked like she was holding back a smile, but I don't know if that was just there was a lot of the times where I was like, it looked like she was like trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
But then I was like kind of coming into it and I was like, wait, I can't tell like her actual emotions there. And because then sometimes like her eyes would meet and it looked like a scared face.
Yeah.
But then there were other times where it just looked like she was like trying to suppress a laugh. And that kind of bothered me. But other than that, like, and then of course it was super dramatic.
It was very dramatic.
But I was here for it.
Yeah. It was almost more like horror soap opera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it did some of the like throwing themselves, like when she.
The dramatics of like on the first scenes in the movie. Or no, when she goes and talks to the mom where she found Tacoma or whatever in the closet, and she just like falls to the ground and is like crying. Yeah.
Which I'll say that closet scene was ultimately okay. First off, when her sister popped up behind her, right before that, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, she came out of nowhere. This bitch got quiet feet.
Literally ninja, stealthy.
And she just was boop there, and I was like, oh shit. But then that closet scene, I thought that was, I mean, it had less theatrics, but I thought it was just as scary.
Yeah.
Like the face was twisted well enough. And I appreciate the fact that it wasn't like it literally was just that their heart stopped.
Yeah.
Because like
the American version, it was almost more like
it looked like they had been drowned and like been sitting there for a while. Yeah. And like her jaw was
because
broken.
Your heart stopping is one thing, but like actual disfiguration to your face and like the way that they look like they were like dried up, pale, all of that.
And
it's
stuff,
like a mixture of things.
And so I was like, but like what they were going with in the American version was that, their heart had just stopped. And I was like, well, that shit doesn't happen to you. Like, obviously something is wrong here.
Yeah.
But like with that one, her face was contorted into that of one of fucking terrified. Like she was was clearly afraid. But I mean, it's still plausible that, her heart just stopped.
Yeah.
There wasn't any like, this bitch been soaking in a bathtub for a week or something. Like,
remember,
waterlogged.
I was really laughing at this part though. Whenever, what's her name? Reiko was at she was talking to that one lady, pulled her aside at the funeral and was talking to her about like, do you know how he passed away? Do you know this? And I'm like, this little nosy, she's trying to get all the tea. Yeah, for real. Literally. And
she's
so
like, let me know. Here, I'll take notes.
Let me know. She's like, but how? And so she was like, they did an autopsy and they don't know how it happened. And she was like, there's no crime, So yeah, like, I don't know. It just had to be that. They were just literally that scared to death.
And
bam,
caused their heart to stop. So
but all of the disfiguration, that's just, they got to spook us somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. I did the little, it only did it the twice. So first with her Yo-chan's. Is that her name? What was the niece's name?
Yeah, Yoichi.
Yoichi.
Yeah, it was with
so
the Y.
So they would call her Yo-chan. When she died, and then when her ex-husband died, Ryuji.
I don't want to pronounce names because I'm gonna butcher them all up. But that guy, the ex-husband.
But when they had the two flashes on their face, like where it went grayscale.
Like, yeah.
I will say, like, even from just the sounds, that like high pitch, that noise, the Ring did a good job of like taking that. I mean, they really, now I have a little less respect
for the American. Well, yeah,
because
it is a very copy and paste.
I mean,
version
it really
of it.
was.
They only kind of Americanized it in the sense of like changing the origin story of Samara, I guess. You know,
from
in the
Sadako
sense of like
Samara,
and like making it more like a family kind of situation,
which it still was family. I honestly really liked this version. So like, because then it made sense too. Like the mom had supernatural gifts. Yeah. So did the daughter.
And predicted that volcano erupting or whatever. Yeah.
And that was fucking hardcore. She threw herself into a volcano. Yeah. I was like, damn, bitch, there's some Gollum shit up in here. I love it.
And die with the ring. Oh, literally.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What the parallels? Do you think that, what is Peter Jackson? Who did, what's his name? Who did the Lord of the Rings?
I don't. Yeah, I think Peter Jackson did. Yes, he did. Yes, directed them.
Good Lord.
But
he was subconsciously making the parallel.
Maybe. I mean, that was based on the book, though.
Yeah, so true that.
They probably, if anything, The Ring copied it from.
Well, and then The Ring is actually, nice segue there, Caitlin. The Ring is based, Ringu is based off the book by Koji Suzuki. Who is basically like the Japanese Stephen King, because he has a whole bunch of other books.
Oh, nice.
They're called like Spiral, Loop. One's called Birthday.
I've watched Spiral. I have seen. I've seen the movie adaptation of Spiral. But I've not read the book.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was good enough. maybe I'm confusing it, but I've seen something called Spiral.
Oh, but you're talking about the Jigsaw one?
No.
Okay, then yeah. Okay.
No.
Or
Yeah,
the
I've
Saw
not actually
thing?
seen that.
That movie. Wait, is it even out yet?
I don't know.
I think. All right, tune in. We'll find out. But
I
yeah,
like Saw, but I don't.
It's based off that book. So
A lot of it's pretty nasty.
I hadn't watched those movies until probably like last year. And actually sat and like went through all of them.
Oh,
Literally all of them.
I saw quite a few of them in theaters as they were coming out.
All of them. That was a really dark, bingey, like 2.5 days.
Some of the scenes, like when that leg, and then they twist it and the bone splinters out. Ooh, speaking of nasty, when Sadako comes out of the fucking TV, with her fingers, like they were almost like splayed like flat though, like with all the nails were gone,
peeled back,
and then it looked like the fingers had been like smushed, like her pinky on one hand looked, oh god, it was so gross. I was like, ugh.
I gave you the ucks.
Oh, it makes my fingies hurt.
Yeah.
But then I was confused on the nails in the well. Oh god, and when the skin peeled off the corpse,
it was very visual.
Oh, and then like the fucking shit started oozing out of her eyes. That was nasty. I was like, hell yeah, they did a good job.
I feel like they gave us a lot more in that sense as opposed to the other version.
Yeah. That was
instead of just like bright flashing lights and like just like
exactly. Like, oh god, they did a good job, and like with it looking natural, like it looked real. So they did a real good job of like not
fantasizing it, I guess.
Yeah. And making it like over the top. Because like we said, even with The Ring, everything was like, this is very clearly a horror film with the colors, the coloring and everything like that. And the way that it was shot, and, you know, Samara's body is like extra tattered and stuff. And all girl comes out, she looking pretty damn normal except for her fingies.
As much as I really liked like the cinematography and the style in which it was, the American version was shot with like the blue scale and all that, like the coloration and stuff. I do feel like now on seeing this one almost feels more like classic, and like true to form, like true to like more believable. Like I could watch it again and not feel like, oh well, this is gimmicky, or this is like kind of absurd. Like it's still kind of, I feel, would hold true. Whereas like in watching The Ring again, I was like,
yeah, there's a few parts that will make you chuckle because you're just like, okay, that's Now, and I completely agree. I honestly love horror films, and this does have to do a lot with the 90s. The fact that it was shot in the 90s, the camera angles and everything were very 90s.
Yeah. Like whenever he's sitting on the park bench and the feet walk up to him. And
okay,
like,
I loved that scene.
Yeah.
I fucking loved that because I think I've made it kind of clear. I don't like when the faces of the monster or the ghost is shown because whatever I'm going to imagine is like worse. And so then I see whatever they've got and I'm like, okay. Like when Samara's face is shown at the end of The Ring for Homeboy.
Yeah.
Like that was just kind of like, I don't know. It's creepier, like with her hair over her face.
Yeah, as opposed to actually seeing behind the hair.
Yeah. And then like when they revealed her face,
because it humanizes her, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
And
exactly.
So she's less of a monster.
Yeah. And with Sadako's face, it was still, they really didn't show a lot though. And the way that the eye was sunk in with that was gross and like unsettling. And so they did a good job of not really showing much, but
they left it more to
the imagination. And I really appreciated that. But with how silent the most of the film was. So a lot of it wasn't like, there was not really a lot of dialogue.
No, I feel
there were a lot of scenes that were very much just them like coming in, doing something and like not
very
really
short
talking.
Conversation.
Yeah. And
it's very to the point too. But also I feel like that's more so the culture, I guess, as well. But it's very like, we're going to, and that's it. And,
exactly. And I really like A Quiet Place and stuff. Things are so much more scary when there's not music filling it the whole time.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
So like there's this sense of like you're almost in there.
It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
because there's not music that's making you or taking you out of the fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of more in it.
And I will say now, like with The Exorcist, the director, he was so caught up on the music and like went through like 3 different composers before he finally, well, first off, he kind of wrote one or he kind of came up with the ditty himself, didn't he?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'll look it up.
We talked about it. It's been long
I remember
now.
you mentioned something about it, yeah.
But like, and there he had a wonderful point. That music did add. And so like in some instances, it's totally warranted and necessary. I just think that this film did a really good job with the lack of music in areas that it did. Now, some of the music and stuff that they chose for some of the parts were a little kitschy.
Yeah.
It was like ding ding.
Well, this is 1998, you know? Yeah.
So I have to think about that. But there were other parts where they were subtle pieces and they did add.
And it worked well.
Yeah.
It really added to the nuance of the whole film.
I agree.
Because I even liked the whole like, it was very like I felt like it was nighttime all the time, even when it was a daytime shot to me.
And the daytime shots were very bright.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Too, so that's interesting.
I don't know. I just felt like it was very, maybe because I watched it on my phone too. I don't know, as opposed to the TV.
Yeah.
But that might have added to it. So I added more to the ambience there. But I don't know. That's like I just felt like it was more. Maybe it was the way that they shot it. Not a filter, but I felt like there was always a filter on. But it wasn't like the blue.
Yeah.
Like the other ones. It was like, I don't know. It felt almost like, maybe that's why I used the word classic earlier, like vintage. Like that's the word I guess I'm going for.
Yeah, I can see that, especially in some of the like office scenes.
Well,
I definitely got that.
And then
vibe.
especially also like on the flashing when their faces would be like, you know, so like that, like, and it almost felt like after that would happen, I would want to hear the like dun dun like from Law and Order.
Yeah. When I saw the flashing, I pictured the ding from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh,
like that's what played in my head was that opening with that sound. Yeah. I can't do it. I'm not like a camera or whatever it was.
But yeah,
I always imagined
if you know,
you
know. Yeah. That is like that. It's not even music. It's sound. It's just like flashing with all the words and stuff. Man, yeah, that's good.
That's good. Classic.
That's good.
I will say I loved The Ex-Husband. Well, in The Ring, first off, I liked that they came out and they were like, yeah, I'm essentially, what's the kid's name?
His name?
Was he you? No. Yeah. Was he? You're no. There's so many people. Wait, why is he in? I looked up Ringu, but then it's got David Dorfman who played Aiden in it. Yeah, they were not. This cast list is wrong. Anyways, the son. I like how they pretty much came out and they were like, yeah, I'm his dad. Like, because in the Americanized version, it wasn't till the end that you kind of got that. Like,
you figure it out.
Yeah. And I like that, like, at the beginning, they were like, this is my ex-wife. And I was like, okay, cool.
Set it up.
Yeah.
From the get-go.
But I loved him.
His name is Ryuji.
Ryuji, the ex-husband. I loved him. I thought he was amazing.
He did really good. No, yeah. I mean, I
thought that hot.
Okay, now we're getting to the bottom of the.
I thought he was real cute.
No, yeah. Well, I also thought, like I said earlier, the acting was better in this one, so I just like kind of felt more believable.
He was a really good actor.
Yeah,
and I loved the clairvoyant or like able to like kind of see into that realm. Yeah, that aspect was awesome, and I was actually like super. I mean, I knew he was gonna die, but I was like, no. When it happened, I was like, please.
You saw the train coming. You're just laying there on the tracks.
Yeah. I loved him. Now, in the Americanized version, I kind of hate that guy. He's a dick.
Yeah. They portrayed them differently. Yeah. I feel like. And also, too, like.
I was happy when he died. I was like,
well, and in the American version, I mean, he wasn't really like. He wasn't help. Like, he was just. But
yeah, he just kind of.
He was skeptical for the most part. Which this guy was too at first, but it kind of, it happened more quickly. He came
around faster, yeah.
But like he was skeptical. He didn't really I don't remember him doing too much. It was all Rachel, right? That's her name?
Yeah, she was doing everything.
And then whenever she
just kind of helped.
and then like and going to the well, or like not the well but the cabin, whenever he had that fit and started like throwing shit, and then the stuff marbles fell. I mean, I don't know, maybe you could say that was like, oh well, without that then they wouldn't have found that, but still.
Yeah.
But then she fell into the well, he couldn't even get her out. Like,
yeah, he's kind of pathetic. When he was running with the fire hose thing and
it gets jacked back.
I was like, dumbass, what the fuck were you expecting?
Very like little rascals.
Random like come on.
You could put the like the behind that. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel you on that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed his character. I thought he was good. He added a lot. Honestly, he stole the show for me. Because he really came in and he was like, let's get this shit done. We're trying to figure it out. And then I also appreciated that he answered the goddamn phone. Unlike homeboy in the American version, who just sat there. And I was like, come on. And so, but then it was really sad because then she had to hear him die. So
it added to it though. That makes it even more the horror.
And so that way she knows for sure, like kind of how he died too.
Yeah.
Like hearing the why.
And that's where it even draws back to more. It's like very like dramatic, very soap opera-y.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was a little bit. I was like, boy, why are you flopping around on the goddamn floor like a fish? Get up. Literally. But then I was like, oh, wait, your heart's like probably giving out. So I was like, I guess it's okay.
The palpitations are taking over.
He was fun, though. I liked him. And yeah, just the whole thing, like with the whole storyline, with it being like Sadako was an illegitimate child, is essentially what it was. And she, not only did she have supernatural powers, but so did the mom. And then the doctor was essentially making like he was trying to make money, or like he was like showing her around. And then I think her father, is that who the other guy was, who then like takes them on the boat and stuff, and who was like sitting there by the beach? I'm pretty sure it was her dad.
Yeah, it was her dad.
He's the one who even introduced her, I think, to the doctor and was like, let's like get some money off of this bitch kind of thing.
It's really
what I gathered. But yeah, so that whole demonstration with her like being able to see what those other people were writing and predicting it or whatever, and them showing, and then the way everyone got so up in arms at that little meeting, and they were all like, no, you're making a fool out of me, blah, blah, blah. I was like, y'all are so, calm
the hysteria.
Down. Yeah.
It happens fast.
And then Sadako was like, die, bitch. And stop that man's heart. And I was like, ooh. And then she just runs out, and her hair was over her face even then. I was like, man, this bitch just was born. Well, I guess Samara's was as well. Yeah.
At certain points, yeah. Yeah. But still, it's more so in this movie. Because we did even like in the American version, whenever she's getting interviewed in that little crazy room, whatever, when they're recording her, they show us her face. Yeah. And she looks like a very like normal kid, girl.
Just super pale and pallid.
Yeah. And talking about they just are.
Yeah. They just are.
It's good.
It was good. And then the doctor killing her. So like the father, it wasn't the mom. And then I mean, that's probably, I feel like the mom was upset from the loss of her child and knowing that she is like this. And then the newspapers were saying all that stuff about her and stuff. So she just decided to end her own life and jumped into the volcano. That whole thing, that whole story is just like, I mean, it's very out of this world, like otherworldly, but it's more believable to me than like that stuff just going wrong for the mom with like horses and stuff. Yeah. And then all of a sudden like, I'm going to kill my daughter. Like
literally.
I mean, obviously there was some mental health that had to come into play there, but I don't know. This whole story was just much more believable. And then the father like having some sort of guilt, and then it's like helping them.
And also because it's more of like, it's a book, you know, it's a beginning and an end. It's a closing and like to the chapter of everything, and you understand everything. Whereas in The Ring, we didn't really know a lot. We still, when the movie ended, even though things kind of were like whatever settled, well, everything's good now, you still left with a lot of like, well, you know, questions.
So even I realized, so I up until like had always thought that, you know, really you only need to make a copy to be safe. I didn't realize it was make a copy, then show it to someone else, which makes more sense for the closing of the American Ring now when they were like, when he says like, but what's going to happen to the person we show it to? And I was like, why do you have to show it to someone? But in this one, they clearly state you have to make a copy and then show it to someone within 1 week.
Yeah.
And then it leaves off like, first off, it doesn't even show whether or not the son makes a copy. It's clear that that's what the mother is going to do. But I wonder if she was planning on showing it to her dad.
The grandpa?
Uh-huh. To save him and then like to save her son. And then we'll tell her dad, like, you should go do this next. But like, I wonder if she basically asked him like, hey, will you put your life on the line for your grandchild
to
kind
do
of thing?
This, yeah. That, I mean, honestly, because what is she going to do? Go ask like a stranger? But yeah, but
that would
at that same
guilt,
yeah, at that same concept though, like, do you think like, I don't know, at a certain point, if you show it to someone and they show it to someone and you kept it going enough, nobody would ever die, right?
Theoretically, until you get to the last person on Earth.
Then that last person's taking one for the team. That's right. Well, yeah, that would never be able to happen anyways.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't right, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.
And what would be like, and nowadays, like, what would you do? Like, live share it to your story.
I guess.
Post to your story, you'll be good.
So we talked a lot about how they the actual film, the VHS tape from The Ring, and we haven't talked much about this one.
I love how whenever she was like, what's that? And he's just like, oh, someone must have left this here. That VHS.
Yeah. Look, I guess someone left it.
You can watch it.
Yeah. It much shorter, much more simple.
Yeah.
Less artsy.
Yeah.
But maybe even more so in a way. I don't know. I really liked it. The man standing with the thing over his head just pointing is like, ooh, and then when she sees him
like
later on.
Like in
multiple
front of things.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, oh, okay.
It's like that was the version of like how in the other film Rachel was dealing with like pulling shit out of her throat and like seeing things, and so
yeah, so that's what this one definitely didn't seem to focus so much on the like burning images in. It still had a bit of it with the hand grabbing and showing up on her own skin, but you could still, obviously these images were spilling over into the real world, like, because the first instance, well, that I can remember right now, is when her son is going to go watch the film, and then she gets woken up by
in the middle of the night
laughing,
by her,
and then by her niece's ghost saying
Auntie.
Yeah. And then she looks over and there's something laying in that bed.
And then the guy points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it flashes up, but yeah, it did. I was
like,
expecting something to like walk up on her.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's fucking creepy. I was like, something is there, and it is not her son.
Or
and
even when she first watches the video, and then the TV flashes to black, and then she sees the girl behind her. Yeah. I liked that. I thought that was pretty good too.
And I like the you saw it instead of 7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
Oh, and I liked you 1 week. Like, when they were talking about it, it's like 1 week, not like 7 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the Americanized version, that's like the whole thing of it. That's its whole kick. And so I guess it did a good job in differentiating that way. But yeah, just the few times that it did flash into real life, and then it was almost as if it was helping her, because then the thing showed her that her son just watched that film, because otherwise I feel like
she wouldn't have even
probably wouldn't have
she would have
mentioned
just
it.
been asleep through it, and then she would have woken up to him next to her. She would have never known that he watched it.
And I don't think he would be like, Mom, I watched this weird movie last night.
I even love like when she's like, why would you dare do that? And he's like, Tomoko told me to watch it.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh shit. And I was like, so he has gifts too, the son.
Yeah.
And then also, fuck that cousin, man. she's trying to kill her little, like, I mean,
yeah,
because the Americanized version played that up too, their connection and how like they were going, but I don't think he watched it because of her.
No.
Yeah. And so, but then the ex-husband states at one point, he was like, that's not Tomoko anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, this is something else.
A Sudoku.
That's, taking her body essentially and using it for her own will. But yeah, then it even helped her figure out the copy thing when she sees, again, that pointing figure in the mirror or reflection of the TV. And then the way that the scenes came into real life were much more realistic in my mind. Like it made more sense. And then how the clue with the, like when they just opened the thing and saw the little mirror and stuff, that was, and then the clue of Sadako in the eye with the Sada. And I thought that was neat.
There were a lot more parallels and a lot more, what's that word? Foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the eruption thing, like I like how that it kind of tied it all together. I mean, so did the film and The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
But just this one was, instead of like the people turning into maggots and stuff, like it was the letters, and the letters start swimming. And then those people were crawling very strangely. And it looked like some were going, like some were being fast forwarded and some were being rewound at the same time. Yeah. Like the way that their bodies were moving in conjunction, it looked like it was like two separate tapes that had been meshed together. And it was like, I guess maybe that could be symbolic of a cyclical thing.
Something
like people always moving forward and then some moving back. I don't know. 2 steps forward, 1 step back with this tape.
You just melted my brain.
Who knows? But maybe I'm reading too much into it. But I thought it was very simplistic and it was like very short. And I feel like you can watch the whole thing because of how short it was before you go like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah, and not like be like, oh, maybe I should stop this.
Yeah, this is kind of going on for a bit. Like
I'm bored.
This is a weird student art film.
Our TikTok attention spans, it's got to be 15 seconds.
Yeah, and that pretty much it
less.
was. And I mean, like I could see, and then I liked the story of how it came to be. Like the little boy he was trying to record his favorite show, but the channels were off and where he was. And so that channel didn't exist in the, prefecture that he was in.
Yeah.
And then it should have just been a blank tape, but it wasn't. And that's how the original tape got started per se. I don't know that.
There's more explanation there to it.
Yeah. I just thought that was kind of cool.
As opposed to my interpretation and the other one is that because they built the cabin on top of the well and there was a TV and VHSs there, she just like imprinted it onto a blank VHS tape. Yeah. Like there. Like, yeah.
Which does, I mean, with that version, it does make a lot of sense. Like that makes sense that it was done that way. And then, I mean, she still has some sort of ability to like put something on something.
Yeah, like her spirit.
Yeah. She's still imprinting it in a way. And then, I don't know, they still built a cabin over this one. I like how these people, like, first off, I don't even think she like rented that room. It looked like she just walked into the cabin the first time. She was just like, okay, this is me now. And this is mine. I'm here.
Investigating.
Yeah. And then when they went to go fucking dig up the well, I guess they didn't do it in the Americanized version either, but like they were at least breaking the ground like in a cabin. These motherfuckers just walk up under a porch and they're like ting 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 in broad daylight, just breaking in. And I was like, okay, but they came prepared. I mean, with the ropes and stuff.
They weren't messing around.
And then, I was also confused as to like how they didn't find her body for so long. I was like, homeboy was down there like tromping around for a bit and her body ain't like
it's literally right
anywhere.
there.
Yeah, I was like, it's only up to your waist, sir. Like, yeah. And it wasn't a very
the diameter.
Wide well. Yeah, I was like, you should have been able to find her body a little bit sooner, I think. Or like, you accidentally kick something, and you're
that's
like,
a skull.
Oh, yeah,
that's a femur.
Yeah, and then
if I ever felt one,
floats to the top.
No, yeah, definitely, it was. It did take him forever, and it was just like.
That scene was very dramatic.
That's
the whole thing, and
so.
I was like, okay, yeah, because then at one point she was like, it's almost fucking 7:00. Like,
my time's up.
We have to hurry. And then he comes back and he's like, it's 7:10. You're alive. But like, That scene was very drawn out. But it still felt like productive. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. I mean, it still came, was adding to the closing of the story. So.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, there's no way you can hate this version and then also like the American version, because the Americanized one just literally took it and said,
it's the same thing.
Here we go.
Here, literally,
just
we're going to
people.
supersize it. Here you go.
Exactly. And so, I mean, as a standalone, I think it is. I thought it was really great.
Like it.
I
really
like
the story of how it just, like I said, it you get everything you need from just that one.
And in comparison to the Americanized one, I think I can't tell if it's because like I know in my head I should like it better because it's the original, and like so I can't tell if my opinion's being swayed or not. But I do think I like it better. Like as an overall film, like I would watch that again. I thought it was good.
Same.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I guess overall when you're doing a remake, the objective is like, because it literally is an exact remake, like to do it but add something better.
The whole first like 20 minutes were the same movie.
Yeah.
It was like
literally with the girls, like
almost
the
like word for word. Yeah.
What was happening.
It was just like ping, 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 ping. Here's one thing after another. I was just like, Jesus Christ, they really, that director really said, okay, we're going to take this film and we're going to put it in English.
And what he did was just like really put filters over it and like kind of make it a little bit more, I guess that word artsy.
Westernized.
Yeah.
But
student film like esque almost.
But I don't know. I overall like this one, I think, better.
I'm like, do we remove a boo from her other rating?
That's what I was trying to think. I was like, so I give this one a 4 and then The Ring a 3.5.
Do we remove boos after the fact?
I can. I'm.
You're a free woman.
Your opinions can change once you are better informed.
There you are.
So now that I know that director, I mean, they put a lot of work into the symbolism and background extra stuff because that wasn't a thing.
For this one.
In this one at all. It was very cut and dry. And I was like, here you go. This is the movie. Hope you like it. Like, not much more to read into it. It's like, we're telling you exactly what the fuck is going on.
And I think maybe that's why with the other one, you're always kind of like, what is happening? Because there was just so much like symbolism and so much you're trying to like, well, this is because of this and this might be because of that.
And then stuff that I would have never known unless I researched it, because I didn't until I read more about it. And then I was like, oh, okay. Now I have a higher respect for this movie. Yeah. And this movie, as a standalone, the Ringu, I don't need that. I watched it and I was like, okay, that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Great. I like that. I mean,
it was solid.
It's great to have some amount of symbolism, and I do believe this had that as well. But they just would come back and explain it later. There was no I feel like there wasn't many plot holes.
Yeah.
Like it was just everything was well covered. They covered every base and they said, this is the thingies. Here they are. You have no questions, right? If you do, you're dumb. So
literally,
I think I appreciate that. And so
less is more sometimes.
Yes.
Simple, 100%. Minimalistic, especially I guess sometimes with horror too. Sometimes you add a little bit too much in there. Most of the time, literally,
in my opinion.
And it just blows it into being more just disbelievable, like this,
and kitschy, and it's just like, okay, like this is the same shit I've seen a billion times. And this one, less, it was definitely more. Like I loved the uncomfortable quietness, and then just the scenes where they would come in and like look around and not say anything.
Yeah.
But they would still interact. Like it felt much more real than.
Well, I guess there's a reason why they wanted to adapt it and remake it and think like, oh, we look at that over there, we can make a whole lot of money if we put that over here.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I understand why they did it, because it was a great film and makes sense why they tried to copy it.
It was really good, really solid. Are we ready to give it a rating?
Yes. I'm gonna give it the 4 boos. Maybe even. Now I feel really bad for whatever I rated The Exorcist now. I have no clue. But I don't know, maybe even 4.5. I really liked it. The acting, though, is where I'd probably... Okay, no, 4.
See, it's sad, though, that even for me, though, the acting in this one was better than the acting in the American version.
It 110% was. It was mainly the lead actress.
For you.
There were some things that I was like, okay, like I can't
connect.
It was too soap opera-esque.
Yeah.
But like the kids acting, loved him. Loved the grandpa too. He was such a fun side character.
Go fishing.
Yeah. And the kid's like, you suck at this. I don't know. I loved
honesty.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would honestly give it a 4.5 as well. It was pretty good. I mean, it's close to a 5 for me at least. I liked it. And it's really the lore to it. Like it's really.
And so yeah, it does come from Okiko. I had mentioned that last week or on the last episode, and I wasn't sure. I was getting Sadako is the film version, and so that's where I was getting confused. But Okiko is the actual reference
from the lore.
Yeah, and who was thrown down the well and was seen or climbed up each night to terrorize that man who, killed her essentially because she wanted to marry him or whatever.
Yeah,
and then she's counting for the 10 plates and one's always missing. Blah blah blah. And so then she's crying and wailing and and at that castle in which they did kind of seal up that whale. They put a whole thingy around it, so she couldn't get out. But also she's a ghost, so she can probably just phase through it. It's whatever.
And if you want to hear more about that, there's more in depth on that in the other podcast
listen
where we
to
talk about the Ring,
original one of the Ring. But yeah, so 4.5 from both of us
for Ringu. Honestly, you guys,
I think I am gonna give it a 4 though because of I don't know. I'm just like thinking like
backpedaling.
I can't tell. I'm between a 4.25 booze.
Okay. There you go. I like it.
That's what it gets.
You're
for
meeting
me.
in the middle. You're compromising.
Yeah.
The growth.
I really enjoyed this film though, and now I want to go watch the others, even though I've already read online that they're not as good because the second and third hardly ever are.
Sometimes it's like, why make a sequel because you have a
don't
good
fix something that's not
alone.
Broken. It's already good. Don't touch it. But anyways,
people get creative. People feel like they need to let that out into the world, or they just want to fill their pocketbooks.
They should have kept it to themselves. Yeah, it's probably the pocketbook thing. They're like, the first one did well. Let's make more money.
Well, it's kind of also too like The Quiet Place, Quiet Place 2.
Now that one was better in my opinion. I liked the second film
I liked
better.
it a lot too. I liked it better as well. John Krasinski though, after he made The Quiet Place 1, he did not want to do a sequel at all. It wasn't in his interest. He felt like he had had told the story he wanted to tell with the first one.
It leaves off on such a cliffhanger.
but the studio, because of how successful The Quiet Place 1 was, they wanted another one,
and they left it open for a third.
And so, but the thing is that the studio literally told him, if you don't write it, we're gonna get someone else to write it.
Oh,
so that's why he came on board, because if I'm,
that's my story, bitch.
Yeah, so that's why he came back to do the sequel.
That makes sense.
He never wanted to, but then
he's like, my character's dead. What else do you want?
Yeah, and there weren't talks to do a sequel whenever the first one was first coming out. Like it was just like, that is what it is, and so. It was the studio, and they basically kind of strong-armed him to do it.
To make more. Huh.
Yeah. A little tidbit there.
Fun. Yeah. I'll have to cover those eventually too someday.
Those are really good.
Yeah.
We can do a 2-in-1.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we saw that, we watched that one together in the theaters, Quiet Place 2. But I had only seen A Quiet Place 1 in theaters. And I had never watched it again. Because honestly, I liked it, but I didn't love it. And so then I forgot literally everything. And so I couldn't even remember if John Krasinski's character was actually dead. I had to lean over at one point and I was like,
wait, is he dead?
He's really dead,
I
right?
remember. And I'm like, yeah.
I was like, I have no clue what the fuck is going on.
In the past.
Yeah, I was so confused. Anyways.
That sounds like it's going to be good already. We'll save that for another time.
Anyways, we are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios. They take great care of us.
Always.
Yeah. And so we're here. Go listen to the other podcasts on this network. I'm sure they're amazing. Just kidding. I listened to a few of them.
I love that. I'm sure.
I'm sure they're okay. Probably not as good as us, but
I'll give them a shout out too.
Just kidding. Everyone else, I'm sorry.
You're all amazing and you're doing great, sweetie.
I'm a very sarcastic person. Anyways, you can find us on social media.
Yep.
The only place being Instagram, and that is
at BooBaes Podcast.
That's right. All one word. All the things.
I always want to chop off the podcast part.
Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to make it just so we weren't. I don't know why we did that.
Well, because BooBaes was taken or something like that, so we had to add podcasts.
Was it?
Otherwise, it was gonna be like at BooBaes1 or something. Like, well, anyways, you guys, you can follow us at BooBaes Podcast,
and that's BOOBAES. No second B. No, not BooBabes. It's gross.
Yeah.
BooBaes. We want it to sound like boobies.
Boobies.
That's right. You can also listen to us on several platforms. All of the important ones like
iTunes,
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, yeah.
You can find us on Spotify, Pandora, and Stitcher as well, and Google Play.
There's a variety out there.
Literally anywhere you want to listen to podcasts, you can find us. So that is awesome, and look for us there. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.
Because without that, we couldn't keep doing this.
That's right. We'll never get ahead in the game. So tell all your friends, join a cult, join our cult, the BooBaes cult. Okay, tell everyone, strong arm them to listen. Twist their arm. Say, if you don't listen to this,
you're gonna die in 7 days.
That's right. Samara and Sadaku are coming after you, and Okiko. All three.
It's the Holy Trinity.
They're just Holy Trinity. I love it. Oh, that would be like a cool T-shirt.
Oh gosh,
with all three of them, and it's like it says, okay.
Well, thank you guys.
Hey, maybe we'll make merch, and then you can buy that too.
Literally. Oh man. Well, I think that's it for this episode.
Thank you guys for listening.
We'll be back. We'll be talking about horror next time.
Yeah, who knows what?
Spoiler alert.
We're getting close to Halloween now. So by the time this comes out,
about that.
Lots of spooky things in store for y'all. So, I almost said have a great day.
BooBaes.
However you're.
Bye, baes.
Bye, baes. That's right.
Bye.
However your day is. Bye, baes.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast. Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros, Foes, Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't rap, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.